Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Mountaineer Locker Room Then and Now. I'm Greg Chris. That fellow right there is Frank Fear. Frank, welcome into the show. And as we say every week, another week closer, and we are down to the countdown now, getting ready to kick off the season.
Yeah, isn't it exciting? Wait
Uh,
for it. That Iowa State, Kansas State game last week, week 0, and now everybody's kicking in starting tomorrow night, actually. Big weekend, Labor Day weekend, and we're looking forward to the game Saturday. We're going to talk a bit more about the pre and post game show in a few minutes, but it's going to be a lot of fun. We know it is.
yeah, that got a little taste of it this past weekend, as like you said, week 0, I guess is what they call it. Got started. A couple pretty good football games, and it was just a good thing to be back on the air. And I know my wife is thrilled. I told her, I said, today there will be no more Saturdays without football up until January, and she was elated and said that she couldn't wait. So I know I can't wait. And the Mountaineers kicking off Saturday, and I know everyone here is excited about that. We want to see, not so much about the particular game, but everybody's anxious to see the team and to see this new old era begin, and with hopes that it moves along like the last time. So I know it's going
Yeah.
to be exciting. We're going to talk about that tonight, and here in a little bit we'll have Mickey Plumley back in with us. Good to have Mickey back again. We'll talk to him and let him pick the exact score and the winner and all that, like he always does. So looking forward to that as well.
Yeah. In fact, it is a big week for us too, because not
Yep.
only are we on tonight, but we've got our pre-game show and our post-game show
Yep.
on Saturday. So we're looking forward to everybody. We got to tell folks though that the pre-game and post-game will not be simulcast. It'll be on the Voice of College Football West Virginia through YouTube only, and we're very pleased to have Mike Fox with us for both the pregame and postgame show. And then we're going to have Mike Dunlap, our good old friend. And Mike has been through hell. He's been to hell and back with physical issues. And so he's going to be with us on the postgame show. And the pregame show, as you know, Greg, we're going to kick it off at about 10 in the morning. Excuse me, is that, yeah, that's, excuse me. The kickoff is
That's a
at
little
2.
early.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
12:30. We're going to
you're
kick
just
it
trying to
off
trick
at
me, Frank. You're trying to
12:30.
get me to get out of
Oh
bed early.
man.
I know what you're trying to do.
Yeah. Well, the thing is you've always wanted to sing on the air.
Yeah, there you
That would be
go.
your chance.
There
Yeah.
you
No,
go.
we're going to go from 12:30 till 1:30, have a half an hour buffer there, and
Yep.
then the post-game show will be 15 minutes to a half an hour after the final. We estimate about 5:30, but we'll just see. And I did something today which was stimulated by what Mike told us, Mike Fox, a couple weeks ago. I didn't know, maybe you did, that when Mike played for the Giants, he was a defensive end, but they actually had him on the line for that end of game kick that either was going to give the Buffalo Bills the Super Bowl ring or the New York Giants, and he was right over center. So I actually watched it. And I'll tell you, go to YouTube. You can find it. There are all kinds of videos. It's worth seeing because Mike's there. He towers above everyone else on the line, number 93. And you can see when he gets down in his 3 point, his leg is going back and forth. And he told us, he said, boy, this is a play that's going to last forever in my memory and other people's memory. And boy, did he push off that line. And we all know, the kick went wide right, and the New York Giants and Jeff Hostetler and Mike won a Super Bowl ring, and Daryl Talley didn't. Yeah, I
Yep.
really recommend go take a look at it, everybody. You'll
Yep.
enjoy it. Unless
Yep.
you're a Buffalo Bills fan, you won't enjoy it.
Yeah, and you think back on his career, man, he was such a good player, and he I always felt like epitomizes what it meant to be a Mountaineer. He was just rugged, rough, kind of puts you in the mindset of somebody like Dick Butkus, and always dirty uniform, blood, snot, whatever the case may be. He was just one of those guys, and man, what a football player he was. And I tell you what, after talking to him, getting to know him a little bit, he's a lot of fun to talk to too, and he'll be a heck of an addition to our show, pre and post game shows, because he's he's pretty animated. He's funny. He speaks well. He's just all around good guy, and you just it's like I kept telling him the night we had him on, he'd be a great for some endorsements. It's probably sad that the NIL wasn't a big thing back when he was playing, and then you wonder how he didn't make it. Of course, he said defensive lineman, didn't get a lot of endorsements because of the position they played, but he would be a great spokesperson for someone. So he'll be a lot of fun. So that's going to be a ton of fun. And for those that want to tune in, we'll get on the air and we'll take comments and try to answer any questions that folks may have. But Frank, this game, and you and I have talked about this. We don't really know. I mean, we don't. There's just no way of knowing. I mean, you'd like to think that based on who we're playing, that we should win the game without any problem. I don't think that's the issue. I just think it's more of a question about who's playing where and who's the quarterback and who's the backup at right tackle, et cetera, et cetera. And we do have the depth charts we'll look at here in just a little bit, but it's going to be more of a question of what kind of team are we going to be. And I think that's what everybody's looking forward to, is just seeing us play, just so we get an idea, because all we have to go by is, just the things we've heard throughout the summer and looking at the portal and where these guys played before. There was just absolutely no way of knowing, how good, how bad we're going to be. That's one of the funny things about these predictions you read all the time. People all get up in arms about, oh, we were finished dead last in the Big 12, et cetera, et cetera. Well, those people don't know any more than we know about it, and which is very little. And there's no way to know until they play. So that's the big thing, is the anticipation of the game, is having Rich Rod back and just seeing where we're at and what kind of season it's going to look like. So I think that's what's most exciting.
Yeah, but if there's one person who does know, the best shot is the guy we're going to bring in right now, and that's
absolutely
Mickey. He kicked our ass last year.
Yeah, like
there's one person who does know. Big time. It wasn't fair.
Absolutely.
Mickey, he kicked our ass last year.
Yeah, like
Big time. You got to turn your volume down. You got to turn your volume down, Mick. Yeah, there's back. Yeah, we're getting feedback. You got to turn your volume down. You got to turn your volume down, Mick. Yeah, there's back. For some reason,
I think I got it.
Okay. Well, hey guys, good to be back. Thanks for having me back. It's been
yeah, for some reason, all of us.
Well, hey guys.
Yeah, Mickey, for some reason there is a lot of feedback, and I'm not sure why. Yeah, for some reason, all of us. Yeah, Mickey, for some reason there is a lot of feedback, and I'm not sure why. For some reason, all of us. Yeah, you might want to try it without the headset and see if that's it, Nick. You never know. Is it okay now? No, I'm still hearing it. Okay. No, it's still going on. It's coming from me. everybody. I had no idea. We haven't had this problem before. Yeah, is it? No, everybody.
Is it still there,
no idea.
Darren?
We haven't had this problem before.
Well, did we lose the feedback, or it's still there? Well, anyhow, let me just say thanks for having me back on the show. Did we lose the feedback?
Mickey, it sounds good on my end, but I'm getting the feedback like 3-4 seconds after they say whatever they said, and it comes back and plays again, almost like it's on a loop. Yeah, I don't hear it now.
Okay.
Goes making.
I'm unmuted now.
That sounds good now.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll try.
Good.
We'll try it again. I'm unmuted now. No, it's.
That sounds good now.
No. Okay.
Yep.
We'll try it again. I'm unmuted now.
All right, Mickey, we got you now, and I can hear you fine, and I think the audience probably can since Frank's backed out. But welcome back. Let's get that out. We're glad to have you back. It's been a while, and good to see you.
Yeah, Greg, thanks so much, you and Frank. I miss being on the show with you guys. Of course, I took a little time off, got relocated back to almost heaven, West Virginia.
Yep.
Fortunate to be back where I was close to where I was born and raised, and glad to be back for football season. You know, for the average fan, they start getting excited, maybe 1st of August, middle part of August. From a former player's perspective, you know, that anticipation and looking forward to getting it on again really starts in January. Players with winter workouts, and then they have weight training, and then they have spring ball, and then you always assign a little summer workout program to do on your own when you're home, and then you come back and you've got camp right before the season starts. So it's a long wait for the players, and I'm sure they're just itching to get out there and get it on. It's what most players refer to as butterfly week, when you get a lot of butterflies in your stomach, and you just can't wait for that first lick in the game. And once you make that first contact, those butterflies seem to go away.
Yeah, and I'm sure they all look forward to it so much. And then I know, as you know, once you start playing the games, you blink and the season's over and it all starts again. But I know, just getting a taste of it this past weekend, I know everybody's excited. I think this year people were excited in West Virginia just because, Rich Rod's back and we've had some, I wouldn't call them down years, but lackluster years, if you will. And I think people are looking forward to hopefully getting that exciting brand of football back. I don't know if we got a Pat White and Steve Slayton, Owen Smith hanging around in the background anywhere. But people are ready for this fresh start, and I think just excited about the season starting with the new regime in place. I think that's why everybody's so excited.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And as Frank and you iterated earlier, there are just so many unknowns. Starting off this season, you got 79 new players. You got a complete new coaching staff. Who knows what's going to happen. It's tough to have expectations. And I hope we get some visibility, some clarity to the situation about 6, 7 o'clock Saturday night. But I'm thinking perhaps we may not. We may have to wait another week until we
Yeah.
get to the Ohio Bobcats to find out for sure. If you look at the record, Greg, we're according to different statistics I've seen, we're either 22-0 or 24-0 against FCS opponents.
Yeah.
And Robert Morris is 0-6 against Division I teams. So I think I'm not sure how many questions this game can actually answer. If by some stroke of misfortune we lose, he'll answer a lot of questions.
Yeah.
That's not going to.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Mick, and that exactly with respect to Robert Morris. Ohio is a different story altogether, and it reminds me. Mark Parsons was on the other day, a couple of weeks ago, was talking about how Ohio has been a formidable opponent for West Virginia on the road. What is interesting, and I didn't think about it at the time, probably maybe the game that didn't happen between West Virginia and Ohio was the most notable one. That's saying a mouthful, a game that was never played being notable. But Marshall was supposed to play Ohio the week after that terrible plane crash in 1970. And Bobby Bowden and the Mountaineers in the athletic office asked the NCAA, this was a year after you graduated, if West Virginia could go up and replace Marshall with all the funds going to Marshall University. And the NCAA declined. So there's a lot of history for that game. And I think we're going to get a much better picture. But the mystery begins to get unfolded a bit, or at least clarified this week as we see these guys take the field and we can start making some, legitimate analysis.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, Frank. Then again, from a scheme perspective and a game plan perspective, Rich Rod's a pretty coy fella. These first three games that are non-conference, non-Big 12 games, I wouldn't expect him to reveal much of his poker hand in the beginning here. He'll be saving the good stuff for that first Big 12 conference game, I'm sure. And you kind of, glide into things a little easier that way as well. And you get three games under your belt. But you're right, Frank. Ohio, the Bobcats, particularly at their home field, they could end up being a challenge. I think they went, 10-3 last year? Good club. And by the way, if you want to get a little preview of how the sort of team that they have, they play Rutgers tomorrow night in the first college kickoff game. I think it's tomorrow night at 6 o'clock on Fox Sports. So you get a chance to check out the Ohio Bobcats tomorrow night if you're interested.
Yeah, they Frank Solich did a great job with that program when he came over from Nebraska and got fired there. And he was fantastic.
Well, we'll know for sure come 6:30 on Saturday night.
That's right. So what's your take on this? And then we'll bring Greg in to give his thoughts, and then I'll play cleanup. What are you looking for on Saturday afternoon?
Well, I think the offense is really going to roll. I think we've got just so much power on the offensive side of the ball this year. And of course, that's where most of the emphasis has been in the preseason and the camp. Overall on the year, I think it's going to be the improvement in the defense that decides the kind of season that WVU ends up having. But in the opener, I've got West Virginia putting up 48 points. And I think the defense will hold Robert Morris to 10. So I've got the final 48-10 in favor of the Mountaineers.
And so we got to. Okay, what was that score again, Mickey? You got to write this down.
Mountaineers 48. Robert Morris
Okay.
is 10. I'll give him a touchdown and a field goal.
Okay.
And that's it.
Excellent. Excellent. Greg, what are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking that, after last year and, Mickey's expertise, I'm going to say 49-11. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. I think, like Mickey had said, I'm not sure how much we're going to learn. Rodriguez mentioned in his press conference yesterday that he talked about each of the quarterbacks, and he said all 5 of them might play. So, when you hear that, you don't know if that happens. You have to think we're going to win handily, and we're not going to see a whole lot. But I agree with Mickey in that I think our offense is going to be fine, regardless of who the quarterback is. I think we have enough weapons. Getting some of these guys eligible really helped. We have a good running back class stable, it looks like. Offensive line has some questions. We don't know about that yet, but based on what we've seen from some of the transfer portal folks that came in, some pretty good football players there as well. So I think our offense is going to be fine. The defense, I think that's the big question, especially the defensive backfield. And I think, Rodriguez has definitely shored that up. And hopefully the defensive line can add that element of pressure to help the defensive back. So I think that's going to be an interesting thing to watch. Again, I don't know that we'll see and figure out a whole lot after this week. I think next week we'll tell more of a tale about how good we're going to be. But with that being said, I think we'll win handily this weekend. I'll throw out, let's go 42-13. I think we'll give them a score to end just to be nice.
Were you ever on that Let's Make a Deal TV show, Greg? It sounds like you may have been on there at one point. Everybody bids on the price.
Price is Right. That's one. Yeah, where you bid $1.
Hey, to your point here, Greg, one thing I'll add is I listened to Rich Rod's press conference yesterday, and I was really pleased to hear him say that he wanted to try to play as many players as he could possibly play on Saturday afternoon. And, it just goes to show where his heart is, as a coach. He talked about all the effort that everybody's put in, since the time he's come on the scene, and particularly during camp here. And he wants to reward those guys by giving everybody on the team some playing time, which I think, inures not only to the players' benefit, but also it gives them a better real-life game situation to evaluate potential of some of these guys that you think they're going to be good, but you don't know until you get them in a real-world game situation.
Yep. And I think it's good for the program. The last few years, we've started off the season with really formidable opponents: Penn State, Pitt. Those guys, tough games to begin with, and sometimes, if you can win those games, that's great. It's a springboard for you. But losing to them and losing to Penn State at home after all the buildup, that's kind of hard to recover from emotionally. And I'm sure from a player's perspective, I don't have that experience playing, but it's got to be hard to recover from. So I think playing some of these folks early like this is a good thing. Like you said, it gives people a chance to play, gives them a chance to look at and evaluate some of these guys. And I think it's good for not only the coaches to be able to see them, but it's good for team morale, that kind of thing. Because those guys put in the work as well, and it's always nice to see them get a chance. And you never know when you might find that diamond in the rough. Somebody that might really pop out. So I think this is a good thing, and it's a good way to start the season.
And Frank, you saved the best or yourself for last here, huh? Your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I mean, and yet, it's interesting because we knew we were going to do this. And so I went back and I said, okay, now we've been following this at about 20,000 feet, looking at the evolution of who's on the team, who left, transfers, et cetera, and when the freshmen came in. And then I said to myself, a couple things came to mind. First of all, where things settled, look to be settled, aren't that much different from I think, what many people thought. In other words, you've got a good smattering of really players from three sources. You got the holdovers, from like a Preston Fox from the Brown regime. You've got the folks that were brought in, and some of the ones that were brought in very early have risen to the top. And some of the guys that came in after spring ball, but they're all transfers. And then third, and we expected this because they played in the scheme, are the Jacksonville State transfers. And so if you look at the two deep that West Virginia University released this week, you can see that as a pattern. The other thing, Mickey, that I looked at was I said, rather than thinking about schemes, offense or defense, I said to myself, what am I going to be looking for when the game starts? What am I going to be looking for? And that gives me sort of a way to evaluate. And there were four things that I'm going to be looking at. First is, and I don't think there's going to be any surprises, the defensive backfield. Players like Israel Boyce, Darian Lewis, how well they play, the defensive backfield. Maybe Robert Morris isn't going to be a formidable offensive foe, but still, let's see how well they do. The next thing is the offensive line. And if you saw the poll that was done this last week, when they asked fans, what are you most concerned about? I think the offensive line came up first. And so I'm going to be looking at how Landon Livingston, for example, plays at center. We had issues last year with high snaps a lot that disrupted plays. Going to be looking at Grayson Barnes, tight end, to see if that tight end slot is going to be productive. And then the third thing I'm going to be looking at is general offensive productivity, because one of the things that happened last year is that we just couldn't finish. We would go up and down the field, but we often didn't finish. So what I want to do is can we drive the ball? Can we have 60, 70, and 80-yard drives without turning it over and without relying so much on fourth down? And then the fourth thing I'm going to be looking at is the kicking game. First, Cade Hensley, who's a transfer from Coastal, is our place kicker. The other thing I'm going to be looking at is Ethan Head, who is going to be kicking off. That's an issue we've talked about on this show. Mick, you've been part of it. We got to put those kickoffs in the end zone, touchbacks, and then our return game, both kickoffs and punt returns with Preston Fox, to see how we do. So those are the four things I'm going to be looking at: quality of defensive backfield play, quality of offensive line play, overall offensive productivity and consistency, and a finish, being an efficient team, and then the quality of the kicking game. Michael Hayes was terrific last year as a place kicker, and now we've passed the baton he has to Cade Hensley, and so let's see how he can do, and also how Ethan Head does, because with Oliver Straw, we have a national class punter. I'm going to say 56-7, and I'm not as concerned about the 56 as I am concerned about the 7. I think if we are going to be as good as we might be or could be, we can't and shouldn't have a team like Robert Morris put points on the board. I looked at their schedule. I know you did too, Mick. And this is their biggest game of the season. Dayton is probably the second. Definitely would be the second ranked in terms of their play. And Dayton is not a major school. They have a really good program, but they play St. Francis. And Mark Parsons, I know you're watching, and my guess is that you'll probably blow up my phone after I say this. Greg and I talked about this, but later in the year, Robert Morris, believe it or not, plays West Liberty. And so, it's a lower mid-major Northeast Conference. So I'm looking at that, how many points they will put up on West Virginia. And I hope it's not as many as Duquesne did a couple years ago when they came in.
That's great analysis, Frank. I'll tell you, I agree with you on all four of those points. And, it's as Rich Rod said in his press conference the other day, and they asked him about wins and losses. He said, I'm not as concerned about wins and losses as I am about improvement, consistency, lack of mistakes, execution. It's, the means, it's the old story of the means toward the end. You concentrate on the means and the end will take care of itself. So we should find out answers to the four areas that you express concern about. And I agree with you 100%. If they put up 21, 24 points, something like that, I think we got a lot of concern about where we are on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, it's the good news is we're playing Robert Morris, and I don't mean to be critical because anybody who follows Mountaineer basketball knows that, and Greg and I talked about this a couple times, they gave, and they still do over the years, they've given West Virginia a lot of trouble and have defeated the Mountaineers at the Coliseum multiple times. And so they're an up-and-coming program, give them a lot of credit, but it's a good game to start. And what you don't want with the enthusiasm that we have to give, the fan base and the team anything where, boy, we really got to work on that next week. What you want to have quite frankly, an easy win with a lot of attaboys, a lot of, as you said earlier, a lot of guys playing, a lot of guys getting time on the field, performing well. And as Rich Rod said, there are two non-negotiables. One is energy. You gotta play with energy and enthusiasm, and the other is physicality. So you gotta have those two, and then hope the mistakes are to a minimum, and that they're not mistakes where you would say, boy, this room doesn't look very strong. That room doesn't look strong. Boy, do we have to really shore up the tight end or the safeties. That you just don't want that going into Ohio because that's a tough foe.
Well said, Frank. Well said. I agree with you 100%.
Well, let's get Greg in here. He's been sticking out his tongue at me in the back.
No, but yeah, listening to you, Frank, I think you've said what most fans are saying, and that is, we want to know about the offensive line, we want to know about our defensive backs,
Yeah.
we want to know about the kicking game. Those were all areas, that we knew the answers to last year, and those are all. I mean, there's questions I think everywhere. I think there's confidence in some of the positions, quarterback, for example. I think everybody feels fairly well, in tune with what we got going on there because, we know what Nico's capable of. And, according to what we're hearing, some of the backups are just as capable. So I think everybody feels okay about the quarterback room. The running backs, I think with Jaheim White, we feel pretty confident in our running game. But it is the questions, the offensive line, the tight end, the D line, the linebackers, the defensive backs, the whole defense. All these positions are, fairly new people, just about in every spot. And I just think there's, those questions are there. And but just like you said, you hope you come away from a game like this saying, well, that looked pretty solid. Let's see how we do against the better team, rather than saying, man, our D-back struggled against these guys, or we got no pass rush on their quarterback. Those types of things. You don't want to be talking about that. You want to be talking about a solid performance with players you expect to do certain things, doing those things, and then everybody, getting a chance and getting to play and going out and doing their job. So you hope that's what we're talking about next Wednesday instead of, well, our defensive backs didn't do well, et cetera, et cetera. So, I think you're spot on. And I think, the questions you mentioned, the things you mentioned are pretty much what everybody is wondering. And, just going to take a little time to find out. But the good thing is we're going to start finding out real soon. And can't wait for
right.
that. So, Mickey, we appreciate you,
That's
buddy.
right.
As always, I know I'm sure his score is going to be probably spot on. I hope not. I hope mine is, and I hope I get to talk some smack to you next week. Because last year I got tired of hearing you bragging every week after you beat Frank and I, because he was merciless. He killed us every week. So hopefully we'll have some ammo for him next week when he comes back on.
Well, guys, it's great being back on with you. Really looking forward to the season and looking forward to being here Wednesday evenings with you two and talking about Mountaineer football then and now.
All right, Mickey, thank you so much, buddy, and we will
All right,
we will
guys,
talk
take
soon.
care.
Yep, we appreciate you, and we'll talk with you soon. There we go, Frank. You and I had the pleasure today getting kind of flipping the script just a little bit here, going from sport to sport. We got to talk to a basketball legend from WVU today, and that was a lot of fun. You and I enjoyed that. We think our viewers will enjoy it. We're going to cut to the video here just a second with our special guest that we had on. We did interview earlier today with John Flowers. John Flowers, of course, played on the 2010 Final Four team at WVU, had a, I think, 12-year pro career, and now works in the financial sector and has been quite successful at that as well. It was a lot of fun talking to him. So, Dirt, if you want to throw us to the video of our interview with John Flowers. We're thrilled to be joined today by a very special guest. And of course, anyone who is a Mountaineer fan knows this guy, a legend at WVU and in the basketball program. He, of course, was a member of the 2010 Final Four team at West Virginia and then had a long professional career. It spanned well over 10 years and in the pros, and now works in the financial sector. And good friend of the show, has been on a couple of times with me on a different show, and we are thrilled to have with us today Mr. John Flowers. John, welcome in. We appreciate you taking some time to join us.
I appreciate it, man. I love the intro, man. Thank you.
You are very, very welcome. And I've talked to John several times over the years, and most recently, I think we talked up at the Best Virginia practice.
Cool.
Rehash this, Frank, but I thought of him the other day whenever I saw that John Wall had decided to retire, and I remember distinctly John and John Wall going at it just a little bit, and John unleashing the river dance on Mountaineer fans that and endeared to Mountaineer fans from that point forward. And I know John don't like to talk about that a whole lot, but you ever get a chance to YouTube it, go back and check it out. And
Shout out to John Wall. He had a great career. We actually became acquaintances after we both graduated, and yeah, he's a great dude, great guy. Shout out to him.
yeah, heck of a basketball player, that's for sure. Take us back, John. I know I don't know if you get tired of talking about it, but I know West Virginia fans always want to rehash the glory days. Let's go back to 2010 and that Final Four run you guys had. What was that experience like? That had to be something you'll never forget.
Yeah, man, it was amazing. I mean, looking back at it, I mean, when you're living in it, you really don't understand how important it is or how big of a moment it is. But looking back at it, it's even bigger than what we all imagined it would be. You know what I mean? Just the people that were around and just the camaraderie, the friendship that came from it. The fans, of course, the fans are what made it special, a special run. So yeah, it was great for us.
You guys, and looking at that roster, a lot of guys on there that have gone on now to extremely successful careers, yourself included. But you got Joe and some of the others on there. What a group of guys that was to play with. and be around. I'm sure that the fans would love to see that happen again. But that's a pretty good collection of basketball players. Let's talk about a few of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's what one thing Hugs used to get on us about is just that we were good guys. He used to tell us, he could find nice guys at the library. He wants animals, he wants dogs, he wants, you know what I mean? But that's an inside joke. But yeah, I mean, everybody was just good, man. Just it's very special to have just a bunch of good people, everyone with the same goal in mind, and I think it shows. You know what I mean? Cam Thurman was on that team. He's one of the higher ups of the company he's working for. He's making really good money. Has a family. Wellington Smith, same thing, has a family, living in Jersey, making good money. Deshaun Butler, assistant coach for the Celtics. Joe Mazzulla, head coach for the Celtics. Johnny West, GM, assistant GM for Golden State. Chuck Bryant, he has a cleaning company now. Kevin Jones, he's still playing basketball in Japan, making really good money. The list goes on and on, you know what I mean? So it's good to see everyone. And I think that's accredited to, our success. You have people who were driven by success. So it was great.
I know Frank and you and I have talked about this numerous times. We're always impressed by these guys accomplish after they leave WVU, and it's just amazing to look. And we've talked to numerous players, former players that have been so successful, and this group is no different. And I've said this roster. Of course, I know Joe personally, and I've talked to him about it before. Just amazing the accomplishments that these guys have made from that one particular group. John, you're still in Morgantown. Do you? And I know you were affiliated with West Virginia. Do you still have anything to do with West Virginia, or have you given that up?
Nah, I'll never give it up. I founded Best Virginia. It started off with the alumni game. Again, I've never have and never will give it up. So it's my baby.
Awesome. The guys made a heck of a run this past year, getting closer and closer, and to that big payoff. That was a pretty good group of players you assembled this year, and had a chance.
Yeah, man, we had a chance. Still hurts a little bit getting that close to winning $1 million, but we'll regroup and come back next year and figure out what's needed to win that $1 million. But either way, if we win the $1 million or not, it's always a good time. I love feeling the nostalgia of the fans, man. Just being in,
Yeah.
well, not the Coliseum, but the Charleston Coliseum, and being able to have those fans in there chanting, doing the chants, and you got the alumni band in there rocking. You got, you know what I mean, the current team that came up. Shout out to Coach Ross, who brought the team up. It's just the camaraderie. I'm all about brotherhood and coming together. So it's amazing.
Yeah, you mentioned the fans. Testament to them and the fact that we got so many home games, at the Coliseum because of the attendance there, and people really have gotten behind it. So it's credit to you guys for being able to grow this thing and get it to where it's at because the fan support was pretty amazing, really. When you
Yeah.
watch the TBT at different places, and then you watch it at Charleston, a little different, So big shout out to the fans, to you guys for getting it built to the point to where the fans do support it like they do.
Yeah. And I mean, but from day one I stepped on campus, Coach Beeline, who recruited me, I came up for my visit, and Hugs just beat it in our brains, and he just told us all the time. And we saw it, you know what I mean? The fans and the people of the state of West Virginia are what make this state great, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that shout out to all the fans that showed up. Thank you for your support. Hopefully we see you guys next year. Help us win that $1 million. You guys make it all worth it.
And on another note, I was reading up a little bit on you and kind of changing directions, but I read somewhere where your mother is in the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, she's basically the reason why I got into basketball. You know what I mean? She was a really good player at Louisiana Tech. She played with Kim Mulkey, call her
Yeah,
Aunt Kim. But yeah, she's living in Louisiana now. Yeah, she was a hell of a basketball player.
that's awesome. Well, we know where you got it from then. No question about that. And again, you're still in Morgantown, so I know you stay attached to the program. Um, what's your thoughts on what's going on with the basketball program right now? I know it's kind of hard with a new roster, new coach, new roster, all that. But where do you see the program at WVU?
Yeah, I mean, since Ren has been here, Ren Baker, I don't think he made a bad coaching decision as far as like performance wise yet. You know what I mean? He's hired what a new two new basketball coaches, new football coach. Who else? I mean, he's just been doing a great job. So you just gotta put your trust in Ren. I know from a basketball standpoint, from the Ross Hodge has been amazing. He's gone far and beyond my expectations, far and beyond of what DeVries did when he was here, as far as alumni relations and keeping the guys together. So, and he's just welcoming it to using a practice facility whenever I want. I bring my daughter in there and shoot basketball. Of course, with respecting their time and practice and stuff, but he's been great, man. With the TBT, he's big on it. They used to do it at North Texas. They had a TBT team that went to the finals, so he loves it. So we practice with the current team. He brought all the guys back. He showed a slideshow of the former players to the current team and just introduced everybody and told them who they were. He donated to our cause for TBT and the kids of West Virginia Young Stars, like personally out of his own money. That was big. He came, he brought the team, he brought pizzas for the TBT team after the game. I mean, he's just been amazing. Like he's a great guy, great coach. So I love that hire.
You mentioned the alumni relations. So one of the things that has been brought up numerous times to us over the course of the past couple of years is how those relationships had kind of fallen off just a bit with other coaching staffs, but now they seem to be trending back in the right direction. What's
Yeah.
your feelings about that? I mean, as far as the alumni relations go, how important that is to the program?
I mean, you don't want to lose that history. You know what I mean? You don't want to lose track of the people who helped build the program up to where it is now. You know what I mean? So DeVries wasn't. I mean, he's just he's more nonchalant. Like I don't know if he cared. Like he was always nice to me. So I don't have anything bad to say about DeVries. But I know I hear on the football side a lot the alumni aren't really welcome back and that sort of thing. But they always. I mean, and shout out to Matt Wells. Shout out to Matt Wells. He's great with keeping alumni around and that type of stuff. So it means a lot to the alumni, and I think it means a lot for fans who enjoyed those moments and times in history that the guys come back and still support the team and that type of stuff. So
Well, Well, I know you. I can attest to the fact that you are there watching them. I saw. I think last year watching a game, and they showed you on the screen numerous times with your kids, and having quite a battle with the kids and the popcorn, and that was all, fun to watch. But you obviously get there and support, and uh, those kids were keeping you busy that night. I remember telling my wife, I'm like, I'm not sure if he's getting to watch any of the game or not, because he was chasing your kids around.
yeah, and I mean, I take the kids to the game, so hopefully they get into basketball. So got
Yeah.
three daughters, so that's karma for me for hanging out with Deshaun Butler in college. But um, yeah, yeah, I'm just trying to get them into the game, into the sport. So yeah, I bring them, even though they don't watch the game.
Frank, you want to jump in and talk to John a little bit?
Well, great interview. We were talking before, uh, John, about you growing up in Waldorf, Maryland, and I've gotten a lot more in tune to the quality of basketball. Incredible in the Washington metro area. You played
Yeah.
at Thomas Stone. How does a guy growing up in Southern Maryland end up at West Virginia?
So yeah, my ninth and 10th grade year, I went to Thomas Stone High School. And then my 11th and 12th grade year, I transferred to St. Mary's Riken. And I played for Coach Danny Sancombe, who was the head coach at Wheeling. He's at Cal PA now, I believe. Um,
Yep.
Great coach. He recruited me to go to St. Mary's Riken and go play for them. They only won, I think, 3 games before I came there in the 2 or 3 years that he was there. So I came in, helped change the program around. He said basically, if I help him, you'll help me. You know what I mean? And he had those West Virginia ties, which I believe, I think the AU circuit helped me a lot get noticed by West Virginia. But Coach Sancombe, he really was the one he was literally putting in work, putting in calls to schools every day saying, hey, I got this kid in the WCAC. He's averaging this, he's this, he's this. He was really bigging me up, and he's my biggest advocate. So shout out to Coach Sancombe and Dave Tallman.
Mhm. And you said you were recruited by John Beeline, and then stayed when Huggs became head coach. Talk about those two coaches, different styles, personas, what it was like to play under John and then to move and play under Coach Huggins.
But I never got to play under John. He left my freshman year, so he just
Uh,
recruited me. But just talking to him, and I kind of worked with him a little bit. He used to come to the school all the time to just watch workouts and see how it was. He came to a few games and stuff. Um, he was all about just shooting. You know what I mean? Offense, and he wanted me to shoot the ball. So I mean, that's my dream coach. You know what I mean? He wants me to score. He wants me to shoot. I could already play D. I averaged like 8 blocks in high school in the WCAC, which was arguably one of the best leagues in the country. So I play. I mean, to me, I played good defense. But then Hugs came, um, and then we just had the conversation of, Beeline called me and said, "Hey, I'm leaving. I can't tell you to go with me, but yeah." So I had a decision to make. I didn't hear from Hugs for like the first week, so I was kind of like in a limbo. Then Hugs called, and then he made a visit to my house. My mom really liked him a lot, just because I think she knew that he was gonna basically turn a young boy into a man. You know what I mean, and instill those principles that they've been trying to instill in me growing up. So yeah, so it's just night and day from Hugs to Beeline. Hugs is a defensive coach. He told me not to shoot unless it was like 5 seconds left on the clock from my freshman year to junior year. And then finally my senior year, he let me, he eased up a little bit because we didn't have Deshaun Butler, E. Banks, and Rudolph and all those other guys. So he was like, who else is going to shoot it? So I guess he just let me shoot. But yeah, night and day, man, because Beeline would have been encouraging me to shoot, and Hugs was just the opposite. But Hugs was a great defensive mind. I really do accredit him to a lot of my success overseas, from just being tough. Like, it's probably the hardest thing I ever had to do in life. So everything after that was easy. It came easy. You know what I mean? It's like going to the military. It is military training, actually.
a lot of people may not know that had a long and successful career after college, playing pro ball overseas. And we were talking before the taping that after college, a lot of Americans really don't know what it's like to go overseas and essentially be on 1 year contracts and play in different countries. You played in France, Germany, Japan, Venezuela, Uruguay. I made Germany. You played in 6 or 7 countries over 10 years. In a nutshell, what's it like to leave college and then to get into the international game?
Um, like I just said, kind of like, just to reiterate, like, everything after college came easy. Like, after you go from 4 years under Bob Huggins, you know what I mean? Like, that military, like, you can withstand anything. You know what I mean? So when I went to play in Japan, which was halfway around the world, practice was easy. So we used to practice 3 hours a day in college, like literally 3 hours. And overseas is like an hour, hour and a half max. So it was like, it came kind of easy. So I just had that work ethic, and nothing that they could throw at me would affect me because I've been through it mentally and physically already. So not it just came easy. But yeah, me coming out of college playing overseas, I really had to prove that I could score the basketball. Just because playing for Hugs, he didn't really want me. I played a different role for Coach Hugs, so I had to come in and prove that I could score the basketball. So did that right away, and yeah, I was able to have a long career overseas.
John, you again still in Morgantown, and we've as we often do talk about successes of you guys after you leave WVU. I know you're still actively involved at WVU with a lot of things, but um, talk about your career. You know, since basketball's ended, what you're up to these days.
Yeah, so I mean, played 12 years overseas in numerous different countries. It was a blessing, man, to be able to play basketball for a living. You know what I mean? Like you get to make really good tax-free money for 12 years. And then I had my daughters, and I kind of wanted a stable life for them, not having to travel all over the place, and had to figure out what was next. So while I was overseas, I just started studying to become a financial advisor. So took my Series 7 test, which was probably one of the hardest tests that I ever had to take. Series 66, SIE, life and health insurance tests. Had to take like 5 tests to become a financial advisor after I graduated. And it's just, yeah, I'm a financial advisor now. I think the hardest change for me, and I've been doing this for the past 2.5, 3 years, but I think the hardest change for me is just changing my mindset from being an athlete and working out every day and training, and that's what I do for a living, to coming in the office, sitting at a desk, you know what I mean? Finding time for, work-life balance, you know what I mean? Having 3 kids and spending time with them and working and that type of stuff. So that's been my biggest challenge, but it's great, man. I love my job because I get to, help people with their finances. I get to bring value to other people. And a lot of people, they don't teach finances in school. So I'm big on just the education, especially to athletes. I have a sports and entertainment designation. So I'm big on just helping other athletes, especially the ones that were overseas, some NBA guys, and just teaching them about investing and generating wealth and that type of stuff.
So you no longer do the pajama parties.
Well, J Flow Entertainment is still alive, so we do host parties and all that type of stuff. So did you go to that?
No.
That was a great time.
No, I said that. It just hit me. I remember Frank, and you'll like this story. Back when when I was doing my show, John had come down to Midland Trail to work with a basketball camp, and so I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and record an interview with him, and have him on for the show. So I interviewed him, and he was talking about his entertainment company, and of course, being naive like I am, I'm asking him all about it. And I'm thinking in my mind, he's talking about these pajama parties. And I'm thinking, oh, that's cool. Get the little kids involved, blah blah blah. I'll talk about that on my show. And then after we got done, we're out in the gym talking, and he said, "You really probably don't want to mention that on your show. It's not the kids' party." I was like, "Oh, okay, gotcha." So kind of got by me there just a little bit, but that's the naivety in me that I have. Anyway, so you do still have the entertainment company then?
Yeah, so I was running like the alumni games and
Okay.
the Best Virginia like exhibition games we used to do around the state. I was running that through J Flow Entertainment. We did like dinners and live podcasts, um, and stuff like that. So the podcast and stuff is still through J Flow Entertainment. Final Forecast, if anyone wants to go check that
Mhm.
out. Me and Captain Jones. But yeah, man, J Flow Entertainment still up.
Awesome, awesome. I have seen the podcast, the Final Four one. That's good stuff. Fun to listen to, and I know Mountaineer fans will enjoy that. But it is fun to listen to. You see college basketball now, and being a financial advisor, obviously understand finances. If you look at uh, college now with the NIL and the transfer portal, all those things that are going on, what's your thoughts on the future of college basketball? What do you think? You know, how's all this going to play out, and in your mind, and end up being once it's settled, some?
So I mean, it's not like my era. Back in my day, which I hate saying, it made me feel old, but it's not gonna be like you got your 4 year guys that stick around and build a relationship with the community and the people and the school. You're gonna have guys come in and out every year, in and out. Um, we're gonna have some really good guys like Javon Smalls. He just came in for 1 year. He's a legend. You know what I mean? He's West Virginia Gold. Like the guy, I think he signed a 2-way contract. Um, in the for the Kings, I believe. But yeah, you're gonna have guys like that. And then you're gonna have guys that come in that no one's gonna ever remember. You know what I mean? Because they weren't here for 4 years. Uh, you know what I mean? But it's just gonna be tough. You know what I mean? Just trying to get players, just because we don't have the type of money that these other schools have in the Big 12. Um, and then I think it's gonna be like a springboard for players and coaches to be able to perform here in the Big 12 and then go get a lot more money somewhere else. You know what I mean? So unfortunately, if they don't want to be here, if they're chasing the money, which I can't blame them, they're just gonna come in and leave, kind of like DeVries did and a lot of other people.
Yeah, I think that's a big concern for Mountaineer fans is the fact that we could become one of those springboards. We hope not, but that's a possibility. And on the financial end of it, do you have any involvement, with NIL play, that sort of thing to assist them? That was always one of my concerns with it. Is, you're going to hand, a 18, 19-year-old kid a bunch of money, and that really could set them up, for life if they know what they're doing. But a lot of them don't have that guidance or understanding of how to deal with money. Have you had any involvement with that at all?
Um, I'm not. It's not. I'm not sure if I could talk about it actually.
Okay,
But
that's fine.
yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, as a kid, I could only imagine what I would how fast I would have just ran through that money, not
Yeah.
thinking about like the implications and the responsibilities that I have to take care of and all that. So, um, yeah, they definitely need help. So, I mean, if the guys are around, like I'm always in a private facility. Everybody knows what I do there and on the basketball side. I've been in their shoes, you know what I mean? I made a lot of money, lost a lot of money, made good decisions, good investments, bad investments. Um, so, I mean, it would make sense to talk to someone who's been in their shoes.
Yeah, now that it's looks like it's going down into the high school ranks as well, it's going to be even more of a challenge. I don't think we'll be talking about that kind of money, big money, but still young people and dealing with finances. And like I said, they don't teach that in school. Somebody has to teach them, and it's sometimes the lessons can be tough. So
Yeah,
I think
for
it's
sure.
important that people do help. So,
Yeah.
Frank, you have anything else before we wind up?
Not really, Greg. You did a great job. And boy, it's really great to hear John, see him. Brings back some great memories, doesn't it?
Absolutely does, and it's always fun to see him. And when I was working up there, I'd drive by his building there, see his nice building he works in, and go watch the West Virginia practices and that sort of thing. Don't get to do that anymore, but it's always fun to hook up with John and see what's going on in his world now. And again, another successful former Mountaineer.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. There's a string of them, as you said, and John is right up there. And I hadn't realized all the guys on that Final Four team and what they're doing.
Unbelievable.
It just it blows you away.
Yep. It's unbelievable. John, again, we can't tell you how much we appreciate it. We know you're at work right now, and we understand you're busy, and we appreciate you taking a little bit of time to chat with us. I know the Mountaineer faithful will certainly enjoy this. Thank you again.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Frank. It's good talking to you guys. Anytime you guys want me on, just let me know.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you,
All right.
John. John Flowers, Mountaineer legend and successful businessman now, and again, Frank, like I said, it's always amazing to see these guys and what they've accomplished after their careers in basketball are over. And he had a long professional career. Like he's years old though still. But yeah, they're so successful and so well spoken. It's always fun to talk to them.
Yeah, and they face so many challenges as young people, in their teens, making a college selection, then going to college, and everything you do is public, and then you've got to move on in your life. And when you think about it, most of us face those challenges much later in life, obviously, than from what they did, and it's just great to see it. And it's another great interview and another. That's what we do then and now. And the beautiful thing about John is that it's not as though, his career has stopped when he stopped playing basketball. He's still
Right.
contributing, and there's a connection to the game. And so it goes on.
Yep, and he is a vital cog in that whole system in Morgantown and WVU, and again successful in what he's doing, and it's just always a tip of the hat to these guys and to WVU for what's produced afterwards. Just amazing to look at it and see. And like you said, that team, that Final Four team, if you you just go look at that roster and see what they're doing now, it's amazing. And professionals, the players, and then professional in the business world, head coaches, general managers. It's phenomenal to look at. So again, hats off to them and to John. So great, enjoyed talking to him. And we'll definitely get him back. Maybe a basketball season, we'll get him in, and we can talk about talk more about basketball and get his insights on that. I know he goes to all the games, so we'll definitely have him back. All right, good job, Baron. Fun to listen to John talk and get caught up with him just a little bit. And again, just amazing what these guys have done since they left. Frank, we talk a lot about and their abilities, the athleticism, et cetera, et cetera. But and I know this from coaching, when you have kids that are cerebral, that are intelligent, understand the game, understand things around them, it's so much easier to coach them, and they're usually so much better. And I think this group that he was with exemplifies that. And and I would venture to guess when you look at successful programs, teams that make deep runs in the tournament and that sort of thing, those GPAs are usually pretty good. And it's always amazing to talk to these guys and hear what they're doing afterwards. And like I said, that roster there in particular, man, what a group of guys that was.
Yeah, I went back to the memory bank after we interviewed him. Something I haven't mentioned to you, and it didn't dawn on me until today, that long before I knew the name John Flowers, I knew the name of a woman called Pam Kelly. Pam Kelly is John's mother, and she played on a national championship team at Louisiana Tech. And she was an All-American. This is back in 1980, 81, I think. 82, maybe at the latest. And that was in the beginning time, only the beginning of the NCAA being responsible for women's college basketball. It was the AIAW, I think, and a school named by the name of Immaculata in Pennsylvania had won a number of national championships in that organization. Louisiana Tech came along, and I'll tell you what, I went to, I was lucky. I went to the internet and said, I wonder if I can find a photo of her. My God. And you know what? Guess what number she wore?
41.
41. Louisiana Tech. And so it's, it keeps on going around and around and around. In fact, I was talking with Daryl Prue later, and Daryl coaches now in Waldorf, Maryland, at a competitor to Thomas Stone. He doesn't coach at Thomas Stone. He coaches at another school, St. Charles Spartans. And he told me that when he was a young guy, probably I think in middle school, maybe freshman in high school, and he would go into the inner city with older guys, and they would play on a Sunday at the invitation of a major actor who supported urban basketball. There was John Flowers, but he was too young to play basketball, and so you go, my God, there are a lot of linkages. It's amazing, a lot of linkages.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned there at the beginning of the interview, his mom was in the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. I don't know if that was included in the interview or not, but I did mention that to him at the beginning. I'd read that, didn't know it before.
Yeah, you mentioned
but
it.
Yeah, when you start researching these folks a little bit. I've known John for a long time, but I've never really looked into other than his basketball career. And you start looking into it, researching a little bit, you find out all kinds of neat things and neat stories that come about, like you mentioned there. So yeah, always interesting, entertaining. But yeah, these guys, and again, what a group, and I think we ought to make it a goal is to get all those people off that roster on our show at some point or another.
Oh man,
wouldn't that be fun?
Oh yeah, boy, oh boy. And that was an important time, obviously, in West Virginia basketball.
Yep.
West Virginia realized it had to have a national net in terms of recruitment. That the days were gone when they could just recruit West Virginia, Western Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio. I mean, Greg Jones, a terrific player, WVU Hall of Famer, came from Cleveland, and there are other people who came from various places. But when you look at where those Final Four players came, a lot of them came from New York City or the New York metro area. And when you think back again, I'm working on a book about Daryl Prue. He came from Washington, D.C., and Chris Brooks came from New York City. And then you got into this habit of bringing in these players from particularly metro basketball players, which is equivalent to college for the most part in terms of the competition. And it's just absolutely amazing. And, it started in football, too, because Garrett Ford came to West Virginia, one of the first African-American players recruited in football. He came from Washington, too. The school he went to, DeMatha, is much known for basketball, but, an incredibly graceful athlete, wonderful running back. I think WVU's first 1,000-yard rusher, again, from Washington, D.C., a metro program.
Yep. And now, of course, a lot of it's different now. Just with the portal, you get them from all over the place. But back then, and even up into the early 2000s, that was the case. And again, just a different avenue, different step, I think, that we took. To not that we didn't get some great players from West Virginia, and even from right here in Oak Hill, where Darren and I are living. But these guys from, like you said, these metro areas, it's a different thing. It's a different animal, and those guys can play, I think that was, where she had tapped into that and it proved successful, no question about it. But yeah, that'll be fun. And when basketball season rolls around, I think we need to start working on getting all those guys. We'll get the whole crew in here and have remembering the Final Four. So 15 years ago, then that'll be our then. And,
there you go.
See what they're doing now. I think people will be shocked unless they follow what these guys are doing. So enough about basketball. We're still talking football, and we've got another former star at WVU. We're looking forward to having next week. I think that'll be a ton of fun. And I had him on my show back a couple years ago. A great interview. Interesting guy, and has done a lot of neat things since then, since he played, but will be forever remembered for tanking the All-American defensive back. I can't remember his name from Miami, and posterized him, as they say, down the sidelines when he tanked the guy. And I think he said he had that poster on his wall still at his home. So, of course, we're talking about Quincy Wilson that we'll have on next week. So that'll be a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, Quincy, what 2,000 yards, I think, total. Yep. And that one photo that Darren put up in the back, you can see Rich Rodriguez in the background watching him as he's making his move. And he's back coaching. There he is. So you can see Rich there in the middle picture. He's back coaching high school. He's coached college. He's coached pro ball, and now he's back in high school again. And just a terrific athlete. And I'll tell you, we've got a shout out to Mark Rogers, who has really been working hard. We have a tremendous lineup of folks who are going to be with us. I mean, Danny Kendra, Chad Johnston, we got Terry Bowden, just three people. Dwayne Woods is going to be with us over the next month or so. These are all guys that you watched, I watched, and just terrific players. And so it's a lot of fun for us, and we hope it's a lot of fun for the viewers too.
Yep, and I want to correct you just a little bit there, Frank. It's Mark Parsons.
Yes.
You don't want to confuse.
Oh, did I say Mike?
You actually said Mark Rogers.
Oh my God, no, Mark Parsons. Oh my God, sorry about that. No.
Yeah, Mike is Mark is Mark Parsons, of course. Helps us tremendously with the guest list, and it just does a great job and has done a great job with these guests. And we do have some good ones coming up. It's going to be fun for the fans and for us. So we're looking forward to that. We want to remind everybody again too.
Yeah.
That we'll be on pregame show on Saturday. We'll start that pregame show around 12:30. Mm-hmm. Want to make sure you tune into YouTube for that on the Voice of College Football. And then we'll have a postgame show 15 minutes or so after the game on YouTube as well. So we want to make sure everybody tunes in and have your questions ready, and we'll try to answer as many of them as we can. We'll have Mike Fox with us, which will be a ton of fun as well. So Frank, if nothing else, I guess we can call tonight.
I think we're all set.
All right. Thanks for everybody for tuning in, and we look forward to coming to you again next Wednesday on the Mountaineer Locker Room Then and Now, and also on Saturday with our pre- and post-game show. For Frank Fear, I'm Greg Christ. Bidding you a good night, everyone. We'll see you Saturday. Let's go, Mountaineers.